Hey guys, Manchester City are back. Football is back. The Premier League is back. I never thought it was going to happen, but it's happened, and how it's happened. City have beat Arsenal 3-0, and I really enjoyed that, I'm not going to lie. I enjoyed it nearly as much as One Football. One Football was sponsoring me as well. It feels like everything's kind of back to normal. I know it isn't, but it does feel that way. As you know by now, if you watch this channel, One Football are absolutely wonderful. Loads of incredible Manchester City news. You can get all the stats from the game. You can get up to date with all the Manchester City news. So please do this channel a huge favour right now and click the link in the description below to get yourself the best football app on the market, bar none. A wonderful Manchester City app with loads of integrated Manchester City news as well. So go and download it in the link in the description below. Thank you, One Football. But yeah, Man City are back. It's good, isn't it? It's good. City have won. We'll go through the match structure. I've forgotten even how to do the match reaction structure. Let me just genuinely... I can't remember the categories and how I order it because I've not even checked because I've not done this in such a long time. What do I do first? Let's have a look. I go for the pre-game first up. Oh, I've remembered it now. Pre-game, basically, this was all about, obviously, life ahead, after, I guess... Well, during, I guess, a pandemic at the moment. And Guardiola was typically Guardiola. He did say in the press conference that we were going to spice it up a little bit here and there. And that's what happened. We got a whole new Manchester City team. We got a different Manchester City team. The big surprise, of course, was Garcia alongside Laporte. I genuinely love to see that because Garcia, in many ways, is the future of Manchester City's defence, in my humble opinion. I know we had a very unfortunate moment, but we'll get onto that later on. But that was a real big curveball there. Mendy, a left back. Walker, a right back. Then we had Gundogan instead of Rodri sitting in midfield. And then the midfield at full would start. David Silva, obviously, now with a massive rest. So he was more than capable of slotting into this game alongside Kevin De Bruyne. Big surprise with Gabriel Jesus up through the middle. And then Mahrez and Sterling, which was a little bit more predictable. Overall, though, it was a pretty decent team. It was a pretty solid team, as it proved. Into the first half, it was kind of weird getting used to it. Personally, I opted for the crowd noise thing. I did go for the no crowd noise on Sky initially. And I'm not going to lie, it felt too real for me. It felt a bit weird watching an empty stadium, and given the world's kind of obsessed, rightfully so, given with COVID at the moment, I didn't want another reminder. I wanted to switch off and pretend I was actually watching football and the world hasn't gone to shit. So I went with the crowd noise, and I'm being honest, I kind of got used to it. It felt relatively natural. It wasn't perfect, of course, but it made it all a lot more palatable, put it that way. It was decent. City started okay. It was an early KDB free kick, but then injuries started to happen for Arsenal. Xhaka was injured. Who else got injured? Mari got injured, which brought David Luiz on, who was Manchester City's man of the match in the end. There was a wonderful Kyle Walker run. No one could get on the end of it. I think Gabriel Jesus dummied it. What else after that? It was around the half an hour mark where City really started to turn the screw. They started to play some lovely football. It's the kind of football I wasn't really expecting to see, even being honest, at the moment. But it was some lovely kind of little interplay. And Gabriel Jesus at one point slid in David Silva, which was lovely. It was absolutely intricate. Leno made a good save, and he made quite a few, including another from Mahrez after a lovely kind of like... almost like disguised pass from KDB to Mahrez. KDB then also set up with Sterling, who tried to dink the keeper and got it absolutely wrong for another 1-on-1. Before eventually we got that goal. A deflected Kevin De Bruyne pass. I'm hoping that'll be an assist. I'm not sure if it will be. Went all the way to Sterling, and he walloped it with ferocity past Bernd Leno. Totally deserved. Luiz a little bit flappy with that, if I'm being honest, but it didn't really matter. Man City deserved it, and I was very, very happy. Into the second half, a few minutes in, and the game was basically over at this point. A wonderful Ederson kind of raking pass found, I think it was Kyle Walker who headed it over to Mahrez. A great chest control, spun it past David Luiz, and David Luiz could not help but be anything but David Luiz. He took the player down for a penalty and got himself sent off. Thank you very much, David Luiz. And to show that the world can actually change and get back to kind of a weird sense of normality, Kevin De Bruyne carried on showing that there is potential life in Manchester City actually scoring penalties. He fired it into the bottom corner, and it was a goal he deserved, if I'm being honest. Even though he was kind of a little bit on and off here and there, I thought he was excellent. After that, City made a few changes. Foden and Bernardo came on for Mahrez and David Silva. Foden went out wide. Bernardo kind of through the middle. KDB had a shot well saved, which was his last course of action, with Rodri and Fernandinho coming on for De Bruyne and Laporte. After After that, there was not really much going on. Aguero came on for Gabriel Jesus. No Sane, which was interesting. And then a really concerning moment happened. Arsenal were kind of counter-attacking. Ederson came flying out and flattened Eric Garcia. Now, Eric Garcia went off on a stretcher. As I'm recording this, we don't know what happened to him. There was signs that he was on oxygen. Thankfully, he did lift his legs, so it looks like there's no kind of, you'd hope, no nerve damage there or anything like that. Fingers crossed. I'm hoping it's just a precaution. Maybe he was out conscious for a few seconds, and as a result, they've said, don't move your neck, get an oxygen, and they'll be extra careful. I'm hoping it's just that. It did lead to a shit ton of injury time, which led to a Foden goal. A great Fernandinho pass. Eventually, Aguero's through goal. He hit the post. Foden, as he always often is, he was in the right place at the right time to score. And then City basically just played the game out. Overall, I really enjoyed that, if I'm being honest. I was expecting to find it a little bit tedious, but I thought City were good. There were genuine pre-season vibes. I understand that. All the substitutions were a little bit strange. It's a necessary evil, admittedly. Football isn't the same. I can't pretend it is. The weird kind of crowd thing, the lack of fans, it is very strange. It is surreal. And you can tell that the players notice it. Seeing all the coach and technical staff in masks as well, it isn't quite what it is. And football does feel a little bit empty. I'm sorry as well, that kind of like FIFA heartbeat noise when Kevin De Bruyne was taking the penalty. Fuck that right off, please. And also the music that will play when they were doing the kind of drink breaks. Fuck that off Zoom. That is absolute nonsense. It should be nowhere near football. But largely, I think I enjoyed it, I think I enjoyed it. You're allowed to as well, because it has been a weird time. It has been a testing time. It has been a tiring time. And sometimes it's kind of nice just to see a little bit of normality, to remind you that despite all the bleakness, there is kind of a little chink of light at the end of the tunnel, and we can get through this together, and we can still enjoy things in life, and hopefully the players will stay safe. I know we've got no say in this, and I was morally against it returning, but while it was there, it doesn't make you a bad person to be a hypocrite and enjoy it. You're allowed to be against it, and then also allowed to want to watch it as a distraction. And I honestly thought it was quite fun. It reminded me of why I love watching Manchester City. It reminded me why I loved watching football. And this was it. Manchester City are a pleasure to watch when they're at the kind of thing. I just forgot to realise, I totally forgot to go to the individuals, but I'll go through them right now and get back to that summation at the end. Ederson, cool as a cucumber, as ever, some lovely raking passes. Clattered Garcia, so hopefully he's alright, but that was concerning. But that's Ederson in a nutshell. He's a bit wild, but he obviously meant no harm. A lot of people saying, why was he laughing? I don't know. Ederson is an android robot. I'm sure he wouldn't be laughing if he felt he'd seriously injured. Hopefully, he'd been told by a physio that it was a precaution and everything was okay. We don't know, but Ederson, I thought, was pretty good other than that. Mendy was solid. I know he wasn't really tested, but he did everything he needed to do. He was strong. He looked physical. He passed the ball around really nicely. He covered well. A good, reassuring performance. Walker, likewise, was solid. Got forward pretty well. I was happy with that. Garcia, I'm hoping he's alright, as we're saying. It's really concerning. He had a couple of tussles and Nakatia in first half. He looked a little bit a little bit nervous, I would say, early on, but he grew into the game, composed as ever, and he's obviously such a big talent. It'd be a shame if he doesn't get to play more games. This is a serious injury, because he deserves this break. Laporte alongside him, absolutely unflustered as ever. Just a classy performance. Defensively, we had very little to do, to be honest, because we were pretty solid and kept the ball well, apart from a little bit of early involvement. Midfield, Gundogan I thought was really good. He was sultry, he was composed. He passed it around Arsenal's midfield for fun. I was really impressed with him. He's always good against Arsenal, Gundogan. He just seems to suit playing against them because they're like a lightweight version of Manchester City, and he's better at doing what Xhaka and Guendouzi try and do for them. He's just much better at doing that. He's a very intelligent footballer. And I think as well, time was very kind on Gundogan. When he missed football, you start to appreciate the subtle intricacies, the silkiness of certain players. And Gundogan was one of those for me that stood up really, really well. De Bruyne, a little bit rusty with some of his passing, but still devastatingly brilliant. Should have had a few assists. Scored a goal. Burst past plays in midfield. Really good and effective as ever. And my man of the match. David Silva, I thought, was really good as well, actually. I thought he looked really composed. He was getting into the inside channels like the old David Silva. Not devastatingly brilliant, but definitely a very effective performance that showed a quality that Arsenal lacked, put it that way. Sterling, I thought, was good as well, to be honest. I know he fluffed an early chance, but I thought he was lively. I thought his movement was intelligent. I thought he was a good 7.5 out of 10, a solid display. And Mahrez as well. Made obviously the second goal. Didn't get loads on the ball, but he was solid. He was decent. I don't blame him for coming off though in terms of Guardiola taking him off. Gabriel Jesus didn't really do much for my liking. Just, it was okay. Aguero coming on. He should have scored. He missed a couple of chances. He hit the post obviously for one. Foden should have had an assist for him when he hit the side netting. Foden, I really liked. He looked really lively. He got a goal, as he always does. Foden has a really uncanny knack of being in the right place at the right time. He's a natural goal scorer. And is it just me, or did he look a little bit stronger, a little bit more the stature to him? He looked good. Bernardo coming on, ripping off my hair with kind of like long flowing locks. It was just showed the strength of our squad. Who else came on? Fernandinho and Rodri. They looked totally fine. No Sane, which was interesting, but there's plenty of time for Sane in a Manchester City in this Manchester City season. Back to the overall bit, it was fun to watch Manchester City again. It was fun to see why City can be so good. I think we've scored now 3 goals in 3 consecutive games against Arsenal. They are just so much fun for us to play because they try and play football, but they're just not as good as us at it. I felt a bit for Arteta, if I'm being honest, but not overly so, because I just love watching City score goals again. I loved watching Twitter come alive to see Manchester City play. I loved the interaction and the normality. I know it wasn't perfect, and I know it's not a substitution for the real thing, but right now I kind of needed that, and I'm sure you probably needed it too. And we saw some good football, we saw some encouraging signs. We saw Manchester City look like Manchester City, and the performance was solid. It was professional, and to be honest, probably better than the performance had any right to be at this stage of our preparations. And it is basically a pre-season game. That is the level we're at. But City was still intelligent. They were still focused. They were still professional. And you can only help but admire that, really, because we've got a very good team here. And sometimes I think you start to realise how lucky we've had it. And this is one of those moments for me. Guys, it's good doing this again. I missed you. I missed making these videos. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I'm a bit rusty because I forgot the structure of this video. But it was fun. I'm going to try, maybe, it might not happen, but I'm going to try some fan cam stuff. I might do a collection of him, and they'll come on, and I don't know if it's going to work. I might not do it, so ignore this if it's not, but hopefully you enjoy those videos as well. Love you all loads. Go and download One Football, link in the description. Like, subscribe, whatever, and I'll see you tomorrow.